Now let's look at an overheating economy. If our long-run aggregate supply curve is pegged at $18 trillion, if that is what our full employment level of real GDP or our potential is, and our aggregate demand curve and short-run aggregate supply curve intersect to the right of that, that means that our current GDP, right here, this is our current output. Okay, so this is our Y, this is our 18.5 trillion-dollar GDP. That's what we're currently producing. So obviously, as our current production is higher than our full employment production, we have what's called an inflationary gap. Okay, so this $500 billion or $500 billion, that's the size of our inflationary gap. So let's say this is an inflationary gap of $500 billion. So basically, our current GDP is above or is greater than our full employment or our potential GDP. Okay, so if our full employment level of real output is less than what we are currently producing, that means that we have unemployment. Our current unemployment is less than full employment. So how does that happen? How does unemployment become less than full employment? Okay, so our full employment level of real GDP, we know that this occurs when we have somewhere between 4 and 6% unemployment. So that means that we are down to 2% unemployment or maybe 3% unemployment, depending on where you believe full employment to be. If you believe full employment to be all the way up at 6%, you could see this somewhere around 4 or 5%. But this happens when we have somewhere between 2 and 3% unemployment. We have an inflationary gap, which means that we are overshooting our potential. So if your parents told you that you surpassed your potential, most of us would think that that's a great thing and we'd be very happy. But when an economy overpasses its potential, the infrastructure isn't there to support the economy. We all are very familiar with what happened with the dot-com bust or a housing bust. And that bust, we're talking about that the bubble popped. The market was overinflated and the infrastructure hadn't grown to support it yet. So if you think about the production possibility frontier, this means that we're actually operating beyond our production possibility frontier. So if our production possibility frontier was, something like this, we would be in a point out here. And until the economy grows to that point, we can't sustain this point. This would be an inflationary gap. We would need to be on the production possibility frontier and have the entire curve shift to the right in order to have any sort of long-run economic growth. Otherwise, we are not going to be able to sustain it. Okay, so we'll look at what happens when there's an overheating economy and how the market corrects. We can look at how the market self-corrects according to the classical school of economic thought, or we'll also look at how, with a little bit of government intervention, we can also see a correction in the market.